Welcome back to the channel, Star Seekers. My name's Luke, and in today's review we're going to be taking a look at Flaskoman, a puzzle platform game which sees you playing as a jar-headed automaton who is put through his paces and undergoes tests at the hands of a mysterious scientist. Now this one was developed by a small 3-person indie team, and I'm always happy to promote devs like these, so let's get right on into this review and see what the game has to offer. So Flaskoman's story follows the journey of a test subject known only as Flask 157. It's presumed that the previous 156 subjects which came before you failed whatever tests you're about to face, and throughout the game a mysterious scientist watches on, observing your every move and instructing you on what to do next. Now, very little detail is actually given throughout the course of the game to expand on the world of Flaskoman, and our scientist buddy merely comments on your actions, which usually involve some sort of sarcastic quip, as though you're nothing but a toy for him to play with. While there is a conclusion to the story, by the end of the game I can't say that I was very surprised by it, and although the game is designed as a simple puzzle platformer, I do think that there was the potential to build a more thought-provoking storyline into it, but unfortunately, there just wasn't enough flesh on the bones with this one to make it memorable. So gameplay in Flaskoman sees you working your way through uniquely designed test chambers in which the objective is to recover a cog, which then opens the door leading to the next chamber. Things start off relatively simple to start with, requiring only a few simple jumps to get used to the game's control scheme, and you will actually need to get used to this, as for some strange reason jump is actually bound to the A button, while a press of the B button takes you right the way back to the main menu. Now as you work your way through the game, its unique puzzle mechanic is introduced pertaining to the empty flask that your character calls a head, and this sees you collecting up liquids of different colours into the old brain box and then depositing them into containers which power different coloured switches. These switches operate things like doors, fans and turrets, and the challenge with this one comes from working out the order in which to deposit them in order to reach the cog and open the exit door. Now as you get further into the game you obtain special cogs which unlock abilities that can be activated by consuming a carried liquid. For instance, the red liquid lets you shoot a fireball to destroy boxes, while the blue allows you to perform a long jump, and several of the game's test chambers require you to utilise your newfound abilities to complete them. Overall, there is some decent variety to the game's puzzles, with a couple of them making me stop and think for a moment, but unfortunately for the most part, the game never feels like it gets beyond the tutorial stages. Now there are a total of 28 test chambers in the game, not counting the ability cog chambers or the final stage, but the second and third abilities aren't actually introduced until chambers 20 and 25, and by this time the game's all but over, with these final few stages feeling more like tutorials on how to use your new abilities rather than a challenging finale to the game. Now I know that not all puzzle games like this have to be challenging, and there's plenty of room for casual puzzle platforms on the Switch. I did however feel like the puzzles were a little too simplistic, and I would have liked to have at least had to think a little more about how to complete them rather than just picking up the nearest liquid and shoving it in the nearest container, which more often than not turned out to be the solution. Like I said before, there were a couple of levels which introduced multiple liquids where I did have to stop and think for a moment, but these levels were few and far between, and I think the developers should have introduced the new abilities earlier, which would have given them more opportunities to develop some more challenging test chambers. In all though, Flaskoman isn't a bad game, it's just not very challenging, and for me the most memorable puzzle platformers have been those which have challenged both my precision platforming and puzzle solving skills, which unfortunately Flaskoman failed to do on both accounts. So graphically, I really liked the mechanical steampunk-like art style of the game. I thought the pixel art was really well done with plenty of details to the environment, and I also thought the character design and puzzle mechanics fit well with this aesthetic. In each of the test chambers you have the mysterious scientist observing you from his window, but he never moves and he also looks really odd, which begs the question, is he actually even human himself, or are you in fact being assessed by a more intelligent AI? Now on the audio side of things, the sound effects are decent but nothing overly special, and the game's music is just okay. It mainly consists of a single audio track which plays on repeat, but it's unobtrusive and sits nicely in the background. So no real performance issues to report on this one, the game runs completely fine on the Switch and I didn't notice any frame rate drops throughout my whole time playing it. Issues wise, again, not much to report. The game's difficulty level is subjective, with me personally finding it far too easy, and the only thing that I really had an issue with was the binding of the buttons, because I hit the B button several times by accident, and having to scroll through the list of levels just to get back to the one that I was on did get a little bit annoying. In all though, Flaskoman is a decent little game, and while its 28 stages took me less than 40 minutes to complete, there will no doubt be people out there who will prefer a more casual puzzle platformer. When it comes to my own personal rating of the game, I'm going to be giving Flaskoman 3 out of 5 stars. If you're looking for a game to kill an hour with and are not into brain busting puzzle games or platformers which make your blood boil, then Flaskoman may be worth a play. And that's about it for this review of Flaskoman on the Nintendo Switch. Make sure to hit that like button if it helped you out, let me know your thoughts and opinions on the game in the comments section below, and if you enjoy my content and want to see more, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. For now though, I just want to thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, take care of yourselves and game on.